What's up guys, my name is Will from Ghost Hack and welcome to episode 2 of how to start a trap track. In the last episode we did drums. That includes kick, snare, 808, and we made some hi-hats. We didn't program a hi-hat pattern because that's going to come later, but we kind of mixed them into the track. I'll just play the loop that I have for you right here, this 8-bar loop, and then we have some hi-hats here at the end, which you can just hear at the end of the loop. Yeah, these are just a few simple hi-hats. Alright, so what I'm going to do actually before I do anything else is I'm going to take this this drum loop right here and I'm going to make it twice as long. Basically all I'm going to do is take this half and move it this way, and then we can select all of it and just double it. So now we have a much larger length. I'm trying to make this very similar to the length that I did the dubstep version of this series in. And the length of the dubstep drop I had was, I believe, 16 bars, so we'll just stick with this. Okay, so right away, the first thing that I want is a lead. So I'm going to scroll through Ghost Hack serum libraries and see what kind of stuff I can come up with. I need a screechy lead because I want it to kind of carry the song, kind of to just have that lead melody, kind of like in classic trap music. Yeah, I like that idea. I kind of want that to play something like this. Just something along those lines, just to get that melody. This is actually a lead from a Ghost Hack pack that will be released soon. It's not released yet, but it's coming out soon. Basically, it's this debussy wavetable along with a saw and this saw from the sub. So you can see where the octaves are. You can kind of see what I'm doing. I have this little slide motion going on with the coarse pitch, and I'm just doing some hyperdimension, spreading it around. I have hard clip, there's multi-band compression going here, high pass filters, flanger and a phaser. I got a chorus, I got a delay, a reverb. There's just a bunch of stuff happening here. It makes it sound pretty thick. So now I got to lay down those notes that I just played. Alright, I think that's a good kind of basic melody to get us started off with. I need to add layers to that, but I think that's good, like the melody itself as it is. Alright, so for the effects, first off I have a bit of EQing, and then some sound goodizing, of course, and then finally this patcher, which is splitting it into high, mid, and low bands with this Maximus here. You see I have the low soloed for this one, the mid soloed for this one, and then the high soloed for this one. So it's splitting up into 3 bands and running through 6 soft clippers, 2 each, all doing this right here. This is a very simple kind of fat rack that I like to call it, but it really thickens up sounds. And of course there are going to be layers to this, but it blends in pretty well once it runs through the sidechaining. Alright, so to kind of make this a little more hybrid trappy and not just like classic trap with just leads, I'm going to add basses right here. I kind of like this bass. This is bass Lizard. This is from the Next Gen Presets for Serum pack, but I kind of like it. I don't think it should go in the beginning, though. I don't think it should go in the beginning of the drop. I think this is more something to end the drop with. And to layer on top, just as a really subtle, quiet layer, I have this little laser sound, which is just saw waves. You can see what it's doing. It's like detuned saw waves, just like falling down with LFO1 right here. Then it's got some dimension and high pass filter, some delay, reverb, compression, stuff like that. So I just put it at the end right there. It needs to be post-processed, but this is what it sounds like without post-processing. Also, what we need to do is we need to automate this vibrato knob right here. So let's just click this button, move it around, and then we can create an automation clip. Okay, that laser sound is pretty cheesy, but I think it's going to be okay if we just post-process it a little bit and throw it in the background so it's not super audible. We do definitely need to post-process that big, long vibrato bass, though. All right, for the long bass, I post-processed it like this. First off, I added a vocodex, which is doing nothing too complicated here. I have the band set to 20 and the order on just 1. I brought the bandwidth all the way up 400%, and I also brought the bandwidth multiplier all the way up as well. You can bring the voice all the way to female. You can add these to 5 and also bring this all the way up. There's a lot of turning knobs all the way up. I turned the times all the way down here, make sure minimum times is selected, and I chose RMS. And, you know, if there's anything else you're curious about, you can just see what I'm doing. I brought the wet up a little bit and added some sound goodization. This vocodex actually makes it sound a little more plasticky, a little more boxed in. It doesn't really sound quite as bright as the other version. It sounds a little harsher. But I can fix that with some EQing right here. After that, I added a little bit of stereo. And then finally the patcher, the same patcher we looked at before. Just driving through there makes it a lot louder. And for this little pew pew thing here, I have an EQ. And then I have a saturator, which I'm just distorting it a little bit with a drive and adding stereo turbo without the saturator. And with it. So now we're back in the same boat we were before. We need something to go in this beginning part here. All right, I have this sound right here. This is called Bass Hovercraft. This is from Next Gen Presets for Serum. And it sounds like this. And I think this would sound really, really cool right here. Or at least a version of it. I may chop it up and do some different things, but for right now, I think this sound is pretty cool. All right, so I did some low pass filter movement here. So I have it moving in this general pattern. And what I'm actually going to do for this first bit is on the 808 layer, not the 808 itself, but the layer, I'm going to take out this right here. And I can actually make it follow along with the bass itself. All right, I did a fancy little move here with the 808. It sounds like this. What I did was I utilized slide notes in the FL Studio mixer to where I can slide this note, not changing its pitch, but sliding it down to 0 velocity. You see, when you do a slide note, it also takes into account the velocity. So I slide down to velocity in a really short time. Then this slightly longer slide note is back to normal velocity, so it will slide back down from nothing to normal volume. Here's a really interesting bass. This is, again, from Next Gen Presets for Serum. This is called Aggressive, and it's this really low kind of just sliding around messy bass, and I really wanted to go in the gap right here. Has actually a good amount of processing. The first thing is an EQ, just to cut out the low end. Second thing is a sound goodizer, as I've done with all my sounds on this one. Wave shaper, driving it pretty hard. And then after that, I have a vocodex, which is really key. It's very loud, Jesus. It's very extremely loud, so I'm going to turn on the EQ after that, which is turning it down a lot. I have this 6 turning down harsh frequencies right here, as well as this just like all the way, almost all the way down in general. Have a high pass filter going on. Next up, I have a Maximus to really compress this because there's a lot of dynamics going on. So I really just wanted to compress those dynamics together really quickly. But anyways, just a lot of compression happening in the Maximus, and then finally just an EQ to cut off the weird low. And running through the sidechaining. To fill in this little gap, I actually took this sound right here from the Mean Teeth Bites pack from Ghost Hack. This isn't a large pack, but it has some really cool kind of Reese sounds. It's mainly for drum and bass, but I'm going to use it in this case because I like this end. I also stretched it and pitched it down. I also took this sound from the Mean Teeth Bites pack, and I threw it in here, and I routed it through the same one as the other one. This is 25. I pitched it in place, and I turned the out up so we just have that kind of impact, and a little bit of the tail. So that's going to go right here. just to fill in space. One thing that is just screaming at me right now through this mix is the lead needs layers. All right, so here's one lead. Sawteeth, which is again coming soon to a Ghost Stack pack. There is one layer I know that I still want to add, however, and I can make this one. This is just going to be a detuned saw. This simple lead can really thicken things up. Just a couple saw waves, lots of detune, some distortion, hyperdimension, and reverb. Alright, so it's sounding alright so far. It still needs some mixing and other stuff, but we need to transfer the basses over to this side as well. Alright, I'm also going to add in some brass hits, these right here. They're very loud, they need to go into the mix, but I'm just going to mix them in and it's going to really help fill out the space. Alright, so with the brass, it actually sounds pretty nice. Alright, this little fill section right here, we'll take care of that in a different part when I do like the background layers and stuff. But as for right now, we're just going to take this and we're going to copy it over here. And I'm going to make some slight changes, not too many changes, but slight changes. A lot of changes in the drum break right here. Now the whole drums are slowed down so you can hear what it sounds like. So that in itself is a pretty nice variation, but what I want to do is mainly with these lead layers. So what I did was I actually took the lead layers, not the main lead, just the lead layers, mind you, and then I pitched them up 7 semitones, so they are, it's like a fifth. It's like a fifth harmony, so it should sound pretty good. I like the way that sounds. Let's see how it works in the mix itself. I actually like that a lot. All right, I think that will actually wrap it up for this episode. I may make some changes to these basses and stuff later when I do the next episode, which will be the background layers. Now, the background layers will really help to fill out all of what's going on right here. Because in the background layers, I'm going to be adding things like hi-hats and hi-hat rolls. I'm going to be adding cymbals and maybe like snare fills. There's going to be background like white noise that'll really fill out the spectrum. So if you think that what is put down here sounds kind of weak, it is true. It does sound kind of weak. It's not super strong right now because it's not filled out with all the background stuff. So the background stuff is going to be extremely important. All right, so here's everything that we accomplished today. All right, so I think we have a pretty cool start right here. I'm excited to get to the next episode, the background layers, where I can really go in and, you know, do some detail work and really fill all of this out because I really hear potential in it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see all of you in the next video. Happy producing.